Chadstone Shopping Centre in Melbourne, the nation's biggest shopping mall, was targeted by pro-Palestinian activists yesterday who staged a leaflet drop on the busiest day of the year. Teena, one of the letters that they dropped read, "While you're shopping, bombs are dropping." Just like the Carols by Candlelight protest on Christmas Eve, there are kids around here that people are doing their post-Christmas shopping. I'm not sure that this is the right place.
It's absolutely disgraceful. It's not in Melbourne though. Every Saturday, I live in the city, at the Pitt Street Mall, there are Palestinian protests. Now, I constantly go up to the police and say, do they have a to do this? But it's just disgraceful, and particularly right on Christmas time, where we want to have sort of a joyous, everyone come together, New Year. It's awful, but I'm happy to say they're getting very little response in the Pitt Street Mall. People are just walking past and rolling their eyes and absolutely disgusted by it. Of course, I've said my bit, which I probably shouldn't do in some cases because I'm going to get it back.
I can't possibly imagine that being the case.
But it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, and I'm just sick of the Palestinian flags everywhere, up and down Pitt Street and Hyde Park. It has to come to a stop.
No, I think, Prue, that people have the right to protest, and but I made the point yesterday. I think that these sorts of actions actually turn people off from a cause.
Totally. You know, we're over it. We don't want this imported. You know, this is a bunch of losers, opportunists who are appropriating an international conflict. And we don't want it here. We have sympathy for the fact that children and women and innocent civilians are dying. Have your argument with Hamas. It's because Hamas is the one that is appropriating the aid for a start. So, of course, you know, they're saying there's no water. It's because they're taking the fuel that, you know, operates the desalination plants and appropriating all the money. They're setting up their military zones in these civilian areas. So don't blame the Israelis. Blame Hamas, but of course it's selective, isn't it? They don't care.
But we need to remind everyone how this started, October 7. We constantly need to remind people of that, and we must never, ever forget.
Too right. And, you know, just on your point, Prue, that they never seem to call out Hamas at these protests.
Never.
But now they're actually appropriating the IDF because they're dropping leaflets on people, which the IDF, as we know, does among their civilians to warn them to get out of
They're
areas.
using all the tactics of Hamas here.
Yes. Just finally, let's talk about bosses at Australia's major public service departments, because they've been dished major pay rises going into 2024. Prue, amongst a myriad of other hikes, the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet Secretary Glenn Davis's will now take home a whopping $977,000. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars more than even the Prime Minister himself.
Well, it might surprise you for me to say that I don't mind them getting paid well if they were good. The problem is we know they ain't good.
And they hire consultants. They don't do this work
themselves. They never do anything. They don't know it.
Even more, of course.
You know, so they need to compete with the businesses outside to get the best people, but they've got either apologists for the government, they're political activists, a lot of them. It's been infiltrated by all these lefties, and they are pathetic. They wouldn't get a job in the real world. So from that basis, I don't support it, but it's just sad that we haven't got good public servants. They ain't the servants of the public, they're the servants of the politicians.
Teena, I chose the wrong industry, didn't I? I should have gone into public service. Clearly,
I could see you as head of a department, Carolyn. Let's see what we can do when we're back in government.
Albanese, over to you. Teena McQueen, Pro McQueen, thank you both so much for your time tonight.